But that's super interesting because, yeah, are you on that side that you think you have to be sort of born with this to handle this up and down? Because if you lose clients' money, right, like at least in my experience, like losing my own money doesn't hurt at all. If I believed in an idea and
I'm
I
like
lost.
you. I'm like you. I find it much easier if I'm positioned and I have volatility. I really don't mind it, but I mind it for my clients. It hurts, but I had to learn that. You have to kind of go through that. You have to go through it, and some clients gonna be angry with you too. Although you've done a fantastic job, but you are just positioned in a way that doesn't show the rewards yet. And you're right, and it takes more time, and you go through that process, and it's painful. I find nothing funny about it, but it comes with the territory. Or the alternative is, which how I started on the public side, is try to have enough money so you can do it for yourself. You live a humble life, and then you compound what you have, and you don't have clients, which I think is a very powerful setup. To be in the client business is don't underestimate. To build a business where you have clients is also not the same as to allocate capital, right? You have to distinguish. There is a job of a good CIO that understands, that sees the research, that knows how to allocate, that does the portfolio side, which is, by the way, some argue also a different job, portfolio management versus research. But let's assume that's the same. So you combine that, but then there is the client side, the selling side, the schmoozing side, the entertaining side. And then there is, if you want, the CEO side, where you have to make this a business, you have employees, and everything needs to come together.
But isn't that the perfect example? Because if you take Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger on one side, and then you pair them up with, the guys who have built Blackstone and BlackRock, even though there are investors at heart, it's a very different journey. It's like two different sports.
That's like mini golf and I don't know, scuba diving. It's just totally different. The BlackRock guy, I mean, incredible what this Larry Fink has done, but that has nothing to do with what Buffett has done. I don't know how many trillions they run now, but I have no idea how he created that, and I don't know. I have never met him, of course, and I cannot comment about it. But it's incredible. But I'm absolutely sure what he has done has nothing to do with what Buffett has done.
Yeah, because just to add one concept, so I'm a person who really hate internal politics. So internal politics happens as soon as you get 5 to 10 people on board, and if you get 1,000 people on board, it's like maybe half of your day is spent on internal politics, right? So just imagine building those companies like Blackstone and BlackRock, how much of that percentage has been internal politics, hiring, firing, buying up companies, selling companies. While on the other side, you can actually maybe be an investor for, let's say, 50% of your time. And then the other 50% is clients, that stuff, right? But it's just so
cool. And those are important questions, and you wanna position yourself there where you feel most comfortable. And I would argue, I have very little desire to go my shop, from outside, because I just, I love clients. I love to have good relationship with clients, but I like harmony, and I like an understanding and respect of each other. And if I realize that, I had clients before where I simply said, look, we are not made for each other. And there was no damage. Just one client once called me and said, by the way, for me personally, the performance is 14% or 12%, and for that specific year, and for the company side of the business, it's 16%, and then he wanted to go into all sorts of arguments about it. And I explained him. I said, yeah, but you told me, to be careful here or this or that. So I kind of tailor-made the portfolio a bit for him, and then he underperformed a bit the company side, and I just realized in that discussion there was the wrong arguments coming out. There was like call it politics, and then you're not made for a job. And so for me, it's very important to have a loyal base, and that I prefer it small than big. And having all these, the bigger you are, the more different the clients will be, and the more institutional the setup has to become, and the more rules they're going to apply to you. Also, this entire, if you have a fund, we have managed accounts for our clients. Right? If you have a fund, and that's under Luxembourg law, then there is a diversification rule that applies. And that's exactly, I think, one of the problems why it's so hard to perform. So I try to avoid that.
Definitely. But I think these examples are great for people to think about, because it goes back to your point, is that you have to know yourself. What situation do you like to be in, and what situation do you hate to be in? So if you know that from yourself, like, the best part would be to experience those situations. So maybe try, if you work for some companies, you will actually get a feeling of that. But before you decide your investor career, if you answer the question, what do I want and when do I think I perform, it's much easier to pick the right route, right?
Yeah, and I think for many of us, the truth is we have to, life is not a straight line, and you're not going to figure it out at first. And so maybe you have to go and walk a little bit in the wrong direction first to then adjust. But I think you should have the courage to adjust when you see, like, this is not me. And I'm not sure, I wouldn't advise anyone, go for your passion. I think passion is more than the outcome than it is the input factor, right? I think you just have to do what you think you are good in, well, you, of course, like it somehow, it should be a bit of tap dancing to work the Buffett book, right? Rather than finding it not interesting. But the more the better you become. I think the output is passion, right? And you start to like it a lot. And certainly you need to like it enough, let's say, to go through those patches of difficulties.
It's so true. And I also think
that you don't throw the towel on the first Kieselstein, we say in German, the first granular little thing on your way. This is too complex. That's also not going to take you there.
But I also think if you're just going to discuss the word passion, I think way too many people start off with, what am I passionate about? But I think that's like a blind alley to start. Like, you should start with what gives value to other people and track your way back and see if one of your passions aligned with giving value. Because you can be passionate about a lot of projects that there's not a lot of willingness to pay for. And then you run into a big problem because your passion doesn't get you paid. And then you don't have to, and then you get a terrible life because you get stress and you don't have money for your life, right? So it all adds up. But I think maybe just start with a simple question, what gives value to people? And then you can work your way backwards.
Yeah, although, of course, but I think you'll find that this is often not so easy to answer. I mean, if you and I say, okay, let's do something together, and even start a small community on Twitter, it's not so easy to know what makes people tick. And suddenly, you think you do something or say something or help someone that is amazing. No one cares, right? And then you say something which is like, of course, right? Ammonia has to do with food, and then that goes completely viral. And you think, like, what were you thinking? Yes, high natural gas prices is indeed the problem for food. Yes. Oh, you didn't know that? Okay, so here is the 20,000 retweets, right? Suddenly in one day, you go like,